One of my interests in the world is the British and the issue they had with the mad cow disease in the 1990s. I think one of the issues with the mad cow disease with the British is it pretty much wiped out British livestock and British beef. I think the British have a legacy with the British Empire, so they have a food supply that's always guaranteed. But I think with the issue with the mad cow disease is that we have an erosion of livestock that is very contagious and very separate from the rest of the world. I think if you look at the livestock in the rest of the world, it's usually quite safe and guaranteed as a food supply for the population. But I think with the mad cow disease in Britain in the 1990s, we had a situation where there was a mad cow disease that pretty much caused mad cows, and they had to be cremated, they had to be eradicated and burned alive, and they kind of wiped out all of the British cows in Great Britain. So we do have a precedent in Great Britain where there was an issue of mad cow disease. I don't know where this occurred from. It could have occurred from Europe. Europe could have caused mad cow disease in Great Britain. But this is very serious because it's affected the entire food chain of Great Britain. If you look at the food chain of Great Britain before mad cow disease, it was quite stable and guaranteed for the population of Great Britain. But if you look at the food chain following mad cow disease, it's kind of eradicated and quite chaotic. We don't have British beef anymore. It's primarily Irish beef. You can check that in the supermarkets. There's public information with that. It's primarily Irish beef now, not British beef, and it should be British beef because the British had the British Empire. That's why they should have British beef, but they don't have British beef, they have Irish beef. And that is quite a testimony to the food guarantees for Great Britain. They can't secure their own British beef. There's no such thing as British beef anymore. It's extinct, it's disappeared because of mad cow disease. And if you look at how many cows they've had to slaughter because of mad cow disease, I think they slaughtered something like 600 million mad cows. Now, I don't know how cows go mad. It could be a delinquishing effect of milk. Perhaps the milk has disappeared. But we do have an occurrence in the world where there are a lot of mad cows in Great Britain that have to be slaughtered, that have to be burned alive. They've been eradicated because the British are very proud of agriculture. They build their country on agriculture, but they can't protect their agriculture with their mad cows. So I think there is some kind of an issue with British beef and Irish beef. I think that's exactly what it is. It's something to do with British beef and Irish beef, and perhaps Scottish Angus burgers and Angus beef. There seems to be Scottish Angus beef and Irish beef, and there seems to be no British beef, and that could be creating some kind of food insecurity in the global food supplies. Countries declare war over rice, and I think Britain is now in a desperate situation where it has no British beef, it has a lot of Irish beef, and it has Angus beef as well. That seems unusual because there's no such thing as Angus beef, it's just beef. So there's some kind of a global food insecurity with Great Britain that could be creating perhaps some kind of an antagonism and insecurity in the world. I don't know why the British have not dealt with this. They seem oblivious to this problem. I don't think they recognise this problem, but I do think there is a problem in food insecurities with British beef. There's no such thing as British beef, so I think that there is some kind of a food insecurity in the world which could be creating some kind of a war conflict or some kind of conflict. I think it could be Europe provoking Britain. I think Europe could have perhaps antagonised mad cow disease. Now I don't know why there is such a thing as mad cow disease, or why cows go mad. I don't think animals go mad. If you look at the animal world, they don't usually go mad. If you look at world history, you can see that perhaps only British cows have gone mad, and perhaps none of the other animals in world history have gone mad. I think it's just the British cows that have gone mad. Now this is some kind of relationship between Europe and Great Britain. It could be something to do with the Eurotunnel. I think the British kind of created a very long tunnel under the sea. There's no such thing as a tunnel under the sea. They're usually just normal tunnels. But I think with the Eurotunnel, there's a very big tunnel under the sea, and that could have perhaps provoked the Europeans. I think the British perhaps could have been quite excited about the Eurotunnel as some kind of achievement and congratulation with Europe, but I think Europe was quite offended by that. I don't think they accepted that gratitude with the Eurotunnel. It was something to do with British engineering. Tunnels are on land, not under the sea. So I think the Europeans were quite offended by the European tunnel, the Eurotunnel. Nobody uses the Eurotunnel anymore. Nobody uses the Eurotunnel anymore. It's quite absent and oblique. It's kind of disappeared. I think it cost something like $1 billion or something. But it was a significant investment in kind of coordinating efforts of relationships between Great Britain and Europe. And in the end, Europe was quite offended by it, and Great Britain was quite excited by it. So we've been left in a very reduced condition where nobody uses the Eurotunnel, but there is some kind of a continental transportation issue, and I think because of this grievance we have an issue of mad cow disease and some kind of tit-for-tat aggression. I think if perhaps Great Britain eased off the excitement and kind of the hooliganism, I think there could be some kind of an issue with British engineering. There seems to be a preoccupation with British engineering. There's no such thing as British engineering anymore. I don't think there is. We have German engineering, which is better than British engineering. We have American engineering, which is better than British engineering. We have a lot of engineering which could incorporate space technology and carbon fibre technology and advanced construction technology. But if you look at British engineering, it's very much traditional British engineering. And I think this is symbolised with the London Dome. Sorry, the London Stadium, the London Dome, the tent building in London. It was the London Stadium tent building. I think the British kind of signified their British technology in engineering with the London Dome. It's that tent structure, athletics building. So I think if you look at British engineering, it's kind of that level. I think it's that level of advancement. And if you look at that level, it's quite a pathetic level. It's kind of a reduced level. I think people have kind of done silicon engineering with construction. They've done glass building engineering with construction. We have skyscrapers with glass buildings. Now, how do glass buildings stay upright like that? We have skyscrapers that touch the sky. We have skyscrapers that touch the sky. They're like 22 stories big, or 50 stories big, or 50 levels big, or 50 floors big. That's how big those glass buildings are. Now, how do those glass buildings stay upright without falling down? The 50 floors big and the glass buildings. There's no such thing as glass buildings. There's no such thing as glass buildings, but we do have 50 floors of glass buildings, and they always stay upright and they always touch the sky, and that's the pinnacle of humankind engineering in the world. If you look at world history in construction technology and engineering, it's usually 2 or 3 floors high, but we have glass buildings that have occurred on planet Earth. we have glass buildings that have occurred on planet Earth, and 50 floors high, and the glass buildings, there's no such thing as glass buildings. They're usually brick buildings, but we have glass buildings that have steel bolts attached to themselves, and they stay upright and they touch the sky. Now, I think that's how engineering should be. So that's my view of engineering.